welcome to this lesson. Before we begin, I just wanted to announce that my Patreon page is now up, so the link is below if you feel inclined to offer support for my work. And secondly, my album is available for download. You can also listen to it for free on Bandcamp and Spotify. So let's get started. Neo-Riemannian transformations sound complicated, but they're actually not. They're actually a very simple and effective way of understanding the relationships between major and minor triads. So maybe you've heard of Cardinal Mezzofanti. He was a famous polyglot, someone who speaks many languages. Now, the way that he would learn languages so quickly and efficiently was by having a native speaker translate the Lord's Prayer from the Bible, because supposedly that paragraph contains all of the necessary connections between words and grammatical structures in order to unlock the entire language. So I kind of view neo-Riemannian transformations as a way to quickly and efficiently understand the relationship between harmonies, between chords, including their inversions. And so I'm going to take it a little step further than the usual explanation. I'm going to go into the inverted transformations as well, so we can really see what happens and develop an intuitive understanding. And depending on the feedback I get, I could do a follow-up video showing the group theory mathematical explanation, as well as an awesome visual aid using a tetrahedral puzzle, kind of like a Rubik's Cube, but a tetrahedron, to show what exactly, or what one way of thinking about the way of changing one note to turn it into a different chord. So let's go ahead and look at the diagram I've drawn up and take a look at some of these patterns. So I've tried to organize these ideas in a way that we can see the patterns easily with the different colors and notation. So we have not only major and minor here with the starting chord, but the resulting chord as well as the notation. So we have root position, and if in case you're not used to the notation, the top number indicates the outer interval. So the interval between the bottom and the top note is a fifth. The bottom number is the bottom to the middle note, so a third. So this would be root position, and oftentimes the bottom number is omitted in root position because there's only one possibility if there's a 5 in this case. So this would automatically be a 5-3. Whereas if there's a 6, it could be a 6-3 or a 6-4, because if you invert it where C goes to the top, then automatically you have a third on the bottom and a sixth on the outer interval between E and C on the outside. And then here, if you invert it twice, then you have a fourth on the bottom between G and C, and then a sixth between G and E on the outside. And then we also have the notation as far as if a note in a chord is raised or lowered, as well as by how much, by a major second or a minor second. And obviously uppercase is major, lowercase is minor, and then the resulting notation. So you might notice a couple of patterns. First is that any major transformation always results in a minor triad, and then vice versa. So the minor triad always results in the major, and the three chords that are fundamental are the tonic, the mediant, and the submediant in all instances. So it could be the minor, tonic, mediant, and submediant, or the major, tonic, mediant, and submediant. And so the possible chord positions are also represented equally. We only see those three, the 5-3, the 6-3, the 6-4, representing the root, first inversion, second inversion, all of them being represented equally and in the same rotation. So if you're used to group theory, you might recognize this as a permutation. And then these inversions will, instead of just relying on the root position explanation, which there are plenty of really good explanations of what to do with each note as far as to turn them into, so if this is C major, it could result in A minor if we raise the dominant. If we lower the mediant, we result in the parallel minor, and then if we lower the root, we result in the minor mediant. And there are plenty of good explanations of that, but the problem with only dealing with the root position is that, first of all, we don't develop an intuition of the chord elements. And so if we think about the bottom note, whatever it is being lowered, results in this, kind of thinking about it in a formulaic way, then if we're in first inversion, the bottom note is not going to be the root note. And so we kind of mess things up. So by thinking about it in terms of all positions, in root position, the bottom note being lowered results in the minor mediant. But in first inversion, it's actually the top note, because the lowered note goes to the top position. So then we develop a deeper understanding of the entire process. And then the second advantage to thinking about inversions as well is because we don't have to invert it back to root position to think about where to go next. So if we make one inversion and then wonder what we can invert from there, we don't have to go back to root position, because that's all we know. We can immediately think of the relationships between the other elements of the chord. So I hope this helps, and please feel free to email me or message me with any questions or clarification inquiries.